Hello students, today I am going to talk on fatty acid synthesis. There are two steps in fatty acid. One is the de novo synthesis, that is synthesis of new fatty acids from 2-carbon precursor acetyl-CoA. And then chain elongation system, that is for the synthesis of higher fatty acids if the fatty acids are more than 20 carbon. De novo synthesis. This occurs in the cytosol, mainly in liver and lactating mammary glands, and to a lesser extent in adipose tissue, kidney, and brain. Fatty acids are both synthesized from acetyl-CoA and oxidized to acetyl-CoA. So fatty acid synthesis, the starting material is acetyl-CoA, which is the product of oxidation of fatty acid. But they are not the reversible of fatty acid synthesis is not reversible of fatty acid oxidation. The reason is that oxidation is in the mitochondria while fatty acid occurs in the cytosol. First, let us see what are the precursors required for fatty acid synthesis. One is the availability of acetyl-CoA. Acetyl-CoA you get from pyruvate, from the glucogenic amino acids, acetyl-CoA is formed. Even beta, as I said, beta oxidation of fatty acid, the product is acetyl-CoA. Ketone bodies also forms acetyl-CoA. So these are the sources from which acetyl-CoA is available. Now coming to the availability of NADPH. NADPH we get from HMP pathway, HMP shunt. And NADP is also formed from malic enzyme. Malic enzyme catalyzes the oxidative decarboxylation of malate to pyruvate. It is in the cytoplasm. And here NADPH is formed. Then there is one more like cytoplasmic isocitrate dehydrogenase. This enzyme, it acts on isocitrate to form alpha ketoglutarate and NADPH. While the same enzyme in mitochondria, this enzyme is intermediate of TCA cycle, it produces NADH. And while in the cytoplasm, the same enzyme produces NADPH. So NADPH you can get from these three sources. Two main enzymes are required for fatty acid synthesis. One is the acetyl-CoA carboxylase, which is the rate limiting step, and the other is the fatty acid synthase, which is a multi-enzyme complex. The fatty acid synthase complex, it has two identical monomers and it forms a homodimer. So this is one monomer. If you see, this is they are having 7 enzymes and 1 acyl carrier protein. The first 3 enzymes, they form the domain 1, which is the condensation unit. It has enzymes ketoacyl synthase, acetyl transacylase, malonyl transacylase, and the domain 2 is the reduction unit, which is the hydratase, enoyl reductase, ketoacyl reductase, and ACP. And the third domain is the releasing unit, that is the thioesterase. If you see here, the ketoacyl has the cysteine, which is having the sulfahydryl group, while ACP has the phosphopentethine, which is having the sulfahydryl group. This is the second monomer. So this is the first subunit. This is the second subunit. If you see here closely, each monomer lie in the head to tail orientation. This is the head and this is the tail. But here, if you see the second monomer here, this is tail and this is the head. Okay, so here the head to tail orientation is there in such a way that the cysteine sulfahydryl and the phosphopentene, that is a pan SH of the ACP, that is they stay in the proximity to each other. That is, they are nearer to each other. This is how they form one complex. Okay, so this is one unit and this is the second unit, subunit. But the functional unit is this. That is, half of the first monomer and the second half of the second monomer. That is, this is how they interact with each other, and this is the one functional division. This is the one functional unit. When these two together are linked together, only then it forms a one functional dimer. This is the active form. Okay, so this is the functional division of fatty acid synthase. So that's why if you see, there are two functional unit, one this and the other this. So this fatty acid synthase complex has two functional unit, and that's why it synthesizes two fatty acids simultaneously. Further, when I show you the steps of fatty acid synthesis, I will show you the fatty acid synthase complex in this form. That is the cysteine SH and the ACP SH. Here, this is the attachment. This is the place where the acetyl and the malonyl group will attach. And so we will be, for the convenient purpose, we will be showing you only the fatty acid synthase in this form. Okay. Fatty acid synthesis occurs in three phases. First is the transport of acetyl-CoA from mitochondria to cytosol, because beta oxidation occurs in the mitochondria. So that acetyl-CoA has to be transported to cytosol, as fatty acid synthesis occurs in the cytosol. Next is the carboxylation of acetyl-CoA to malonyl-CoA. And the third is the reactions of fatty acid synthase complex. First, we will see the transport of acetyl-CoA from mitochondria to cytosol. Acetyl-CoA is formed in the mitochondria by pyruvate dehydrogenase and also from the beta oxidation of fatty acids. So this acetyl-CoA has to be transported into the cytoplasm for the fatty acid synthesis. As acetyl-CoA is impermeable to mitochondria, it cannot enter into cytosol. So it has to be converted to citrate, and this citrate is formed by combining acetyl-CoA with oxaloacetate. Now citrate then can enter the cytosol, and then this citrate is then acted upon by citrate ATP citrate lyase to form acetyl-CoA and oxaloacetate. Now this acetyl-CoA then leads to, in the cytoplasm, leads to the fatty acid synthesis. Okay. Now this oxaloacetate, this then forms malate, and malate then is permeable, so can enter the mitochondria. And the same time, malate can also form pyruvate with the help of malic enzyme, and it produces NADPH. This NADPH, it also produces carbon dioxide also. This NADPH and carbon dioxide are utilized for the fatty acid synthesis. And the pyruvate is permeable to mitochondria, and so it will enter the mitochondria, and it also forms the malate and ultimately to oxaloacetate. So this is how acetyl-CoA from mitochondria enters the cytoplasm for fatty acid synthesis. Now we will see the carboxylation of acetyl-CoA to malonyl-CoA. Acetyl-CoA undergoes carboxylation to form malonyl-CoA in the presence of enzyme acetyl-CoA carboxylase, which is a rate regulating step. And this is an ATP dependent reaction. It also requires carbon dioxide and coenzyme biotin. So now we will start with the reaction of fatty acid synthase complex. Here, if you see, this is the fatty acid synthase. I had shown you in the previous slide that I will be showing you representing the whole fatty acid synthase in this form. That is the cysteine SH and the ACP SH. Okay. This is the sulfhydryl group. Okay. Okay. So the first reaction, there is acetyl trans-acylase enzyme is required. There is a transfer of acetyl group, if you can see this. Acetyl group is transferred to ACP and coenzyme A is released. And here, if you see, it is bound with the sulfhydryl group of ACP, and so it forms acetyl S-ACP enzyme. Then this acetyl from the ACP is transferred to cysteine. So this forms the acetyl S enzyme, and that's why here we are writing it as acetyl S ACP enzyme, and here it is the acetyl S enzyme. So now here, if you see, the ACP sulfhydryl group is vacant. Okay. In the next step, or the next reaction, there is the enzyme malonyl trans-acylase used, and as the name suggests, malonyl CoA is transferred. Here, malonyl-CoA is transferred to ACP. Here, ACP sulfhydryl group, it binds the sulfhydryl group of ACP, and that's why this will form acyl or acetyl malonyl enzyme. So on the cysteine, it has the, that is the ketoacyl synthase. This enzyme is a ketoacyl synthase. On that, the cysteine binds the acetyl group, while ACP binds the malonyl group. So this forms the acyl malonyl enzyme. Now the third reaction, here this is a condensation reaction where in presence of beta ketoacyl synthase, it forms beta, as the name suggests, it forms beta ketoacyl ACP, because here this is the beta keto is formed over here. So this forms beta ketoacyl ACP. Here what happens is the acetyl, which was bound to the cysteine, is transferred to the malonyl. This was a malonyl. Na? If you see, remember the previous, it was having acetyl on the cysteine group, while the malonyl on the ACP. So this is the acetyl from cysteine is transferred to the malonyl, and here there is elimination of one molecule of carbon dioxide, and that's why it forms a keto group on the beta position. So that's why it forms beta ketoacyl ACP. Then in the fourth reaction, there is a reduction with the help of enzyme ketoacyl reductase. Here one NADPH is required, and it forms beta hydroxyacyl ACP, as 2 hydrogen from NADPH was given to the keto group, and that's why it becomes beta hydroxyacyl ACP. Next, there is a dehydration, that is a removal of water with the help of enzyme beta hydroxyacyl ACP dehydratase. So here what happens is, because of the elimination of one molecule of water, there is an introduction of a double bond. Can you see here? There is an introduction of double bond, and that's why it forms trans-enoyl ACP. Now, in the next step, this trans-enoyl ACP, in presence of enoyl reductase, this enoyl reductase enzyme is a NADPH dependent enzyme. It converts the trans-enoyl ACP to a 4-carbon acyl ACP, or you can call it as butyryl ACP, as there are 4 carbons. This is attached to the ACP. Okay, this is the 6th step. In the 7th step, this is the last step of the 1 cycle. This butyryl ACP, this is transferred to the cysteine sulfhydride. Okay, so this is the seventh step. So if you see, there are 4 carbon on the cysteine, and now this was the one, here the one cycle completes. Okay, now later on what happens is, from reaction number 2 to 7, that is when malonyl CoA was added, from that step till this 7th step, it is repeated for 6 times. Because today I'm explaining you with an example of 16 carbon palmitate. So to form palmitic acid, they require 16 carbon. So already 2 carbons are added to the substrate acetyl CoA, 2 more carbons are added. So it forms butyryl ACP. So now the reactions will go on till 16 carbon palmitate is formed. So 6 times the reaction from 2 to 7 has to be repeated 6 more times, and finally it forms a 16 carbon palmitic. Then in presence of phosphoesterase, because it is attached to ACP, to the complex fatty acid synthase complex, it is attached. Now in presence of thioesterase, there will be a chain terminating step. This is a chain terminating step. With the addition of a water molecule, it leads to the release of palmitic acid by the hydrolysis of here the phosphopentethene thioester bond. This bond is broken down here, and so it will release the palmitate from the fatty acid synthase complex. Okay, so this is how the palmitate is formed. So this is the fatty acid, de novo fatty acid synthesis. This is the overall reaction of the synthesis of palmityl CoA. Acetyl CoA, here total 8 acetyl CoA were used. 7 ATP, 14 NADPH. 14 means in one cycle 2 NADPH were used, and 7 cycle. So that's why 14 NADPH were used. 1 acetyl CoA was used in the first, it was directly added. Okay, and then later on acetyl CoA in the form of malonyl CoA were added. So 7 malonyl CoA were added. So that's why 14 carbon from the 7 malonyl CoA and 2 carbon from acetyl CoA, 1 acetyl CoA. So total 16 carbon palmityl CoA was synthesized. Now coming to the regulation of fatty acid synthesis. This is how, like, citrate forms acetyl CoA, malonyl CoA, and palmityl CoA. Acetyl CoA carboxylase is the rate regulating enzyme. Here, if you see, citrate here acts as the allosteric stimulator. So it activates the acetyl CoA carboxylase. While the end product, palmityl CoA, by the feedback inhibition, because there is more amount of, when there is more amount of product, palmityl CoA, it inhibits acetyl CoA. So this is the feedback inhibition. High carbohydrate diet leads to fatty acid synthesis, while fat-rich diet depresses fatty acid synthesis. Hormonal action in the fit condition, when there is hyperglycemia, glucose level is high, so high insulin level will be there, at which insulin promotes fatty acid synthesis. While in the fasting condition, there is high level of epinephrine and glucagon, it inhibits the acetyl CoA carboxylase, and so fatty acid synthesis is inhibited. These were the allosteric regulation. That is, citrate act as a stimulator of fatty acetyl CoA carboxylase. Palmityl CoA Palmitoyl-CoA, it inhibits G6PD. The product inhibits G6PD. G6PD is the enzyme of HMP pathway. So when G6PD is inhibited, naturally NADPH is concentration of NADPH decreases, and so palmitate fatty acid synthesis is inhibited. As I showed in the previous slide, similarly, palmitoyl-CoA inhibits acetyl-CoA carboxylase. So these were the allosteric regulation. Now coming to the covalent modification or the hormonal action, insulin dephosphorylates acetyl-CoA carboxylase, and acetyl-CoA carboxylase dephosphorylation form is the active form of the enzyme, and acetyl-CoA carboxylase stimulates fatty acid synthesis. This is how the covalent modification works. While at the same time, glucagon and epinephrine, it will lead to the phosphorylation of acetyl-CoA carboxylase, and it inhibits fatty acid synthesis. So if you see, insulin will stimulate or it will activate fatty acid synthesis by activating acetyl-CoA carboxylase, while glucagon epinephrine inhibits acetyl-CoA carboxylase by phosphorylation or forming the inactive acetyl-CoA carboxylase. So this is the regulation of fatty acid synthesis. So that was about the de novo fatty acid synthesis. Thank you so much. Those who haven't subscribed, please do subscribe so that you get the notification of my new videos. And please do like my video. Thank you.